All right, I'll do an update here on SOFI. Continuation from the video yesterday. I'm done trading for the day. The rest of the day is probably just going to be like chop, maybe a little bit higher, maybe come lower. It doesn't really matter. Um, this move looks like it can go either way. So, I mean, it's kind of disappointing because to me, it looks like it could end up being ABC. And you can see here that we basically got there. We didn't get quite to the top of this parallel line right here at 807. So we didn't quite get confirmation of if it's a 5-wave move or if it's a ABC move. I can look at the length of these waves. So 714 to 749, so 35 cents. Wave 3 would have been 730 to 771. That's only 41 cents. That's longer than the first wave. You remember the wave 5 was 53 cents. So this is a fine 5-wave move. It looks like 5 waves to me. Let's just see. The length of, if this is a C wave, 750 to 803, 53 cents, and then 714 to 771, 57 cents. So that's kind of interesting though. These are basically the same length right here. So that's why I'm saying it can be either way. And this was a very deep 4th wave if it is a 5-wave move. This 5th wave or the 4th wave came back in almost to the first wave, but came right past the 0.5 fib. And so based on what I think the overall market's going to do, and based on the fact that we are in our resistance area now, I'm leaning towards the downside, which seems kind of insane, but I'm going to lean towards the downside here. So that means that we could potentially go to 642 for the next move down. So that's a, what is that, like a 20% lower, and then ultimately we'd fall in here. I'm leaning towards that, but here's the thing, it doesn't really matter because even if this is 5 waves right here, and let me double check and make sure this is completely finished. It should be completely finished. Yeah, so even if this is 5 waves right here, and I say I'm leaning towards the downside, it doesn't matter. It's going to come back anyway. So if you're playing, like, if you want to play puts to protect your portfolio, it doesn't really matter because if it's a wave 1, it's going to come back down here to the 0.5 fib, 0.6 fib, maybe even the 0.78 fib too. So we'll find out next week, basically, which one it is, but either way, it should have downside from here. And so it doesn't really matter whether I know this is a 5-wave move or it's ABC yet. I'm leaning towards ABC, but either way, you're going to get a retrace, so it doesn't really matter. And if it is a wave 1 and it retraces here, if you're selling covered calls up here, you can cover up here if this is a corrective move down. There's 2 options from here. It's going to either be this and then go higher, or it's going to be this. And so we'll probably know pretty quickly what it is next week. And I'm ready for either one. I sold covered calls today, right around $8, $7.95, $8, a little bit early. I sold some $9 calls for November 17th. So give myself some room in case I'm wrong. But again, even if it comes up here to like 820, 830 and I'm wrong and it goes a little bit higher, which I don't think I'm going to be wrong, but if it does go a little bit higher, it's still got to pull back for a second wave. So that's basically all there is to say about it. If you watched the last video, I went over this whole move right here from the very top and what I thought was going on. And I basically said that this is either going to be a short C wave, or down here, short C wave, or this is wave 1 of C. And so next week, we find out which one it is. But either way, again, we should get a retracement. As far as where the retracement would go, you're looking at least 759 and potentially all the way down here to 733. Let's see if there's any good demand zones. I don't see any gaps or anything. Is there any gaps? Nope, no gaps. So that's a good thing. No gaps, but I don't see any good demand zones either. So a demand zone would be a good place for it to bounce out of. So with that being said, again, I'm probably leaning towards the downside. But it seems kind of crazy, I know. People can't imagine this going down to $5 to $6, but there are a bunch of gaps down here, and there's a huge demand zone down here too. So don't take this lightly. It could happen, and it could happen quick too. It could just be, and you got to remember too, this is only going to be the third wave of the third wave, so it might end up being ABC lower. If I was wrong on this and this was ABC, it makes a little bit more sense for this just to be ABC. So A like that makes a little bit more sense, because if it was 5 waves, then we'd be going here for a third wave, and then we'd be going to like $4, and that's probably not going to happen. So I would imagine at this point it's probably ABC if it does go lower, or we bottomed right here. So if it's 5 waves, we're looking at it like something like that probably, and there's a gap fill here. So again, next week, look for a pullback, and it's already pulling back a little bit. The top was at 803, and it went a little bit above this supply zone, but at least a pullback to 759 minimum. So if you sell covered calls up here, you should be profitable next week if it ends up being a wave 2. If that's a wave 1, then we could see, if it's a wave 1 and the market somehow goes higher, which I don't think is going to happen, then you're probably going to see some kind of crazy move after we pull back. You're probably going to see something crazy into earnings, I would imagine, because that's going to be, well, it doesn't have to, I guess. It could be a sub wave 1. It could just go to here, maybe go to $9 and then pull back again. So that's pretty much it. To summarize, next week should be a pullback, and the pullback should go to at least 759, and we'll know pretty early in the week what we're getting, and I will do another update then. But for right now, that's pretty much it. So leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Do you think that that was a wave 1, or do you think that was a ABC move and we're going to go down to $5 or $6? If you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're long, so you're probably going to think that's a wave 1. But really, it doesn't matter too. If you learn how to hedge your portfolio, and I mean, there's plenty of techniques to do that. If you have time, you should look up how to be delta neutral in your portfolio. So if you own, let's say you own 6,000 shares, then you try to get your negative deltas to 6,000. So that means when it goes down, you don't lose any money. Your portfolio stays the exact same. So you can do that through selling covered calls, buying puts. It doesn't really matter. It just matters that you keep your portfolio even, and then when it gets down here to wherever you think is the bottom, then you get rid of your covered calls, you sell your puts, and then your portfolio is at the exact same spot, and then when it goes up, you make more money. And it's like you didn't lose anything. Instead of just holding and hoping it's going to go higher and lose all your money, and then it gets down here and you do some emotional decisions and you lose, you sell too early or you sell out of fear, etc. So look into being delta neutral, and that's pretty much all I got to say. Look for a pullback next week to 759 minimum. All right, have a good weekend.